A real man will get with a woman who has kids. Haven't y'all heard that? How many of y'all black men heard that? A real man will be with a woman that's got kids.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. Welcome back to the channel. Tommy Sotomayor. I've wanted to talk about this guy for a minute now because he's one of those old school OG men's content, red pill gentlemen that has had a streak of bad luck with being cancelled on YouTube and many other channels. But still, wherever he is, he seems to be dropping a lot of knowledge. Now, what is happening here? They're discussing body count. And as you know, when that topic comes up, there's always some female who's trying to justify or says it has no effect on who she is. But how Tommy expresses this was actually one of the main reasons why I want to listen to this. It's going to be a bit longer than the usual videos, but believe me, it's going to be all worth it because let's just listen in and I'll give commentary as much as I can.
Let's just make that plain clear.
Oh,
Look at
God.
God.
Well, look at that.
I
But I'm
think
talking
I think
about to a woman that he's pursuing on a first date or really any amount of time is going to ask her, what's your body count? Because he's not
No,
going to give a
actually,
fuck.
a-
It don't
actually,
have
a-
anything to do
actually,
with how far a relationship can prosper
actually,
based on someone's body
actually,
count. But I'm
actually,
not gonna. But I'm also not going to over articulate and over possess all this passion on this quote unquote.
What is that? Over articulate and possess this passion. Anyway, they just use words. This is just words.
One thing of a body count because I don't think it's that deep.
Hey,
But I just
Anaya,
wanted
here's
to
the
break
Anaya,
down
here's the
the
reality
if a
with
conversation
that.
that
woman,
y'all was
Here's the
having
Anaya,
hold on. Here's the
earlier.
reality with that. Here's the reality with that. With the whole real man
I got you,
conversation,
Tommy.
right?
I got you.
Now, this is his name is called the Angryman. So he's also a YouTuber and also does a lot of content in the space. So he's also an interesting guy to listen to. Some of these are more mature men that have been through it. So a lot of them know really how to articulate. They're very entertaining. So it helps the message, go along.
If we look back in the past, we can argue that the men back in the past were way more manly and masculine than we are today. The men of the past, when they got into relationships with women or started courting women or pursuing women, there was an expectation that that woman didn't have a body count.
And that is not such a long time, by the way. This is even in the early 90s and later, it was expected that a woman shouldn't have a high body count. In fact, in every location you'd know who is the 3 or 4. They were known. Most of them didn't care, they'd already given up, or some of those, wild cats out there. So most of them were like that, but we knew who they were, but it was not the majority. The majority actually looked down on it. And now you can notice just how quickly it has turned in a space of 20, 30 years. It's turned on its head.
So they didn't even have to inquire about that because it was assumed that you didn't have a body count. And in this day and age, you're talking about a man today ain't gonna ask a woman that. Yeah, a man today ain't gonna ask a woman that because most of these niggas out here ain't hitting on 2 damn cents. They don't give a shit how many people you've screwed. In fact, they're hoping that you screwed a lot of people because that would give them a better shot to screw you on the first night.
Buzz. And that's exactly it. I really wanted you guys to listen into this video because there's so many gems in this video. There's the way they eloquently put across the point. You can see all the other ladies except the one at the bottom left, Anaya. They all really know it's the truth because it makes sense and it's logical. And they've seen it and there's experience to show it.
And right now, what's going on with women is women don't want men asking about body count because they know it's wrong and they don't want to be embarrassed to have to admit how many dudes they done laid up with before they got married.
And that is the plain truth. Because I've never heard of anything nice and positive with no shame where people don't want to talk about it, or people don't want you to pass judgment upon it, or at least look at it critically. People are trying to tell men, a lot of men, by the way, included in this, they're trying to tell other men to overlook red flags, to overlook personality traits that have been built over the years because of repeated use. So the problem we have right now is there's a lot of trying to turn right to wrong and up is down and whatnot. And I think that allows for easier manipulation because you're dealing with people's base instincts. The reptilian brain is activated all the time. It's not about what makes sense or what will cause the least damage. It's what I want. The dopamine.
The words out my mouth.
He cooking.
That's the reality.
But Angry, let me say this: if a woman by the time she reached the age 30 and she only slept with 5 people, and a man that's potentially, pursuing asks her the number, I think she'll be proud to say, "Hey, I'm 30 or whatever. I only slept with 4 or 5 people." That would be a number that she would have no problem saying, because it's a relatively no number. It's reasonable. It's respectable. From what I've seen in my personal life, numbers, and this has nothing to do you and I, numbers that are kind of in that area where it's make the man look like, oh, nah, I ain't about to invest all this in you. I think that we don't want to have that conversation. But if a woman had
I don't think it's no harm in
I don't think
asking.
she have a problem saying the number.
I agree with you. And if I sound really like I'm talking hella loud, it's because I got my cancellation
You're
headphones
good.
on. And
No,
I
you're
like to
good.
hear myself when
No,
I
you're
talk.
good. You're good.
What they're
But
trying to do is they're just
but
trying to say this, right? You would ask,
Now, this is Fatty, the person speaking, the top left. This is his channel. So he's been around, he's been on many panels. So this is his channel, and he gets all these people to contribute. As you know, this kind of format is actually a pretty efficient way to have so many people at once to give you different opinions and create something interesting and entertaining and, full of gems like this.
a man for his job. And if that man said he had 10 jobs on the last 2 years, you would find it weird. You would be like, oh, I don't know about this.
no, I think let's scratch
So
that. I'm
one second,
saying
Anaya.
let me also
you
clarify
would,
because I'm also answering and my comment was based off this specific thing.
no, yeah, go ahead.
There's no harm in asking a person what's their body count. If someone wants to ask me what's my body count right now, depending on who it was, if I'm in a relationship with them.
You see, she's already placing the disclaimers, depending on who it was and what. It is somebody that you're going out on a date with, and they're trying to weigh whether they should take you seriously or just a bust down for today. That is what is going on here. So already you realize the word games, why people are trying to create so many gray areas so that they can slip in there when they're caught.
I would tell them. But on a first date, I think if that's what you asking me on the first date of us first talking, first meeting, first hanging out and getting to know one another, if you ask me what's my body count on the first date, I just feel like, yes, that is weird because what are you focused on?
He's trying to find as much information as possible. Anyway, look, gentlemen, most of the time you don't need to ask her. Most of the time, by just looking at her, her mannerisms, how she dresses, there's a lot of pointers to show you just how promiscuous a woman is. You don't need to potentially just ask her straight out, although, in my opinion, you should be able to ask straight up. Yeah, have you been sleeping around? Because I don't like women who sleep around. That kind of honesty to spare people's feelings. You're trying to be dishonest and manipulative to spare people's feelings doesn't help anyone, because these are very serious decisions that people make that they don't want you to question and query where they have been. And it's one of those things when you say they like to label things weird or it's this or that, just try and inflate a situation more than it is, because really, if you're an honest person who has not done things you're not ashamed of, I mean, you could just say it, right?
Taking you
Okay, I mean,
taking you
That's all I'm
serious.
saying.
very
I'm
fair.
Yeah.
taking
Taking you
seriously.
serious. Taking you
Yes,
I give
serious.
you. I give you that.
So a
Yeah.
person's gonna take me
The
serious, less
time
serious
he's
based
gonna
off my
invest in
body
you.
count.
If
Right.
Fatty just told you earlier, if you were listening, if he's on demon time or want to have sex, he don't care about who you have sex with, and how
Right.
many people you have sex with.
Yes, and this is one of those things. You know, a lot of women are getting a lot of men to pay them attention because seeing how they behave on social media, how they promote themselves, because that's what I call it. They, you know, showing off their assets, various assets, you know, trying to be seductive all the time. You know, it's for attention, but also they get a lot of offers. And these offers are just guys who are trying to bust down, most of them, admittedly. A lot of them also simps who are saying how they'll marry them and take care of them for the rest of their lives. These women don't want those guys. They want those guys to just say, let's meet here and do it the thing. Let's go here and have some whiskey and do the thing. That's what they end up doing. They rack up such high mileages because of that.
And are you listening? Like, God, we tell you our secrets, we tell you man code, and you go, "Oh, it's weird if he asks about a body count." When it actually shows if a man comes out his mouth, "Hey man, how many people you dealt with?" He actually has interest in you.
Yes. So what
How
Ali
is
saying?
it? How is it weird if the two of you first met
I got you, Tommy.
and you're trying to get to know each other, and he's basically just asking you questions about, like, because for me, in my opinion, if you're not ashamed to screw a bunch of people outside of wedlock, you shouldn't be ashamed to tell people how many people you screwed outside of wedlock.
Because I
Simple. You can't run away from it. But let's see her continue to wiggle and lie and be just a dishonest person, really. This is ridiculous. I mean, we know this, but anyway, it's entertaining.
feel
I
like
think she's
there's
talking
a
about the
different way
word.
you
I think
can
she's just saying
rephrase
the
that
word.
question. You can rephrase that question. Instead of if a person, if I'm on
Now she's trying to pick on the nonsense. What do you mean you could rephrase it? No, it is straight up the way it is. Because now she understands that the walls are closing in. Whatever answer she's giving is not really gonna wash.
So
date
instead of
and
saying,
a guy
so
says
wait,
straight
so
up,
let me ask you this.
listen, hear me out. Listen, hear me out. If a guy straight up and says, "What's your body count?" Like you
Nah.
you
She's
gonna
talking
have
about
to
the
take
word.
another stand and be like, "What?" Versus
Ayana,
if I'm
No,
if
no,
I'm
So
getting
Ayana,
to know a
instead, he's
person,
supposed to
like,
say
Anaya,
how many.
Anaya.
getting to know
Excuse me,
one
I'm asking.
another.
I have no problem a woman asking me how much money do you make? Do you have your own house? Do you need all this? Ask and I will tell you. The thing is this. Through the way you're asking, I would find out what your intentions are. Because really, you just need to let people just talk sometimes. Just ask questions and let them tell you what's up. But everybody wants to play sly and manipulative. No, this is a very simple game. Trust me.
Name.
One second,
And
Fred.
they
Fred,
say,
1 second.
and they say, how many relationships have you been in? How many relationships? You know, it's just a different way that you
Ayana is
ask what you
But
want to
Anaya,
know
the
in a different
relationship,
kind of way.
exactly.
but there's
But relationship doesn't mean body count because most of the body count is accrued outside relationship. So sometimes when you're in a relationship but you're cheating, the question is not asking about relationships. It's the question is asking just how frugal are you with your punani? How frugal are you, Anaya?
you
one
but
second. I just want to clarify this so we can have an honest conversation, right? And then Ali, Tommy, Angryman can go. Women don't ask, "Hey, Tommy, how much money do you make?" They ask your profession. And if you say, "I'm an orthoped," whatever the L is, you Google it. How much does a doctor that works on this with this amount of years gets? And you go ahead and you kind of see, oh, he gets between 150 to 200. I got it. Men are not going to ask your body count. Men are going to ask how many boyfriends, for how many years you've been single.
Yep.
Before the pandemic, you've been single since 2018. I know what you've been doing.
Okay.
Right?
Well, Fatty.
So
Anaya.
Let me say this. Let me say this
No,
one last thing.
second,
Let me say this one last
second.
thing.
I mean, that's one way to extract information. But personally, I think I'd rather just ask the question straight up so that I have a baseline where to rank the person because a lot of the times if somebody has been promiscuous, the information will be out there, and unless you're a simp who's looking at this woman through rose-colored eyes, thinking you're going to save her, blah blah, you've fallen for some lies, you're going to be able to see the red flags that have been hidden peeping. So as long as you're alert and you're not trying to be a dummy out here, you're trying to do serious investigation into this person, because this world is harsh for people who are ignorant.
And then now
Anaya.
Anaya.
It's Anaya.
This is Ali's fault. So respectfully, right? Women just don't like to get straight up question about body count, but men will find a way to circumvent the how many bodies you have and ask 7 qualifying questions to kind of see if you've been outside or not. And if they can get it,
You
they
know?
get it. They don't, they don't.
So
it's
hold on,
just-
Anaya,
how
Anaya,
can you-
slow down. Anaya, slow down. If I slept with all the women on this panel, would it increase my value or lower my value?
Lower.
Listen,
That is ridiculous. You know, these are the kind of lies that we have to dispel. What do you mean lower? All we know that all the guys who are getting all the punani, they are the dons. We know that. Even when they are poor, even when they don't have much, as long as they're getting the ladies to fall over themselves, they'll always find a way. We know that. Just the same way like with a very beautiful woman. We know even if she's a hoe, we know there's somebody who'll pick her up, and so I need to save this beautiful 3 or 4. You know what? It is what it is. But very few people have the leeway to do that.
Increase.
I'm
Hold on,
gonna
can you
just
answer-
say,
can
I'm
you
gonna
answer-
He's
just
a
say this.
man.
Can you answer it, please? To society and the women and men on the panel, if I slept with all of you, would it increase my value or lower my value?
Who
Women
knows
don't
this
want-
information?
Women don't
Is this-
want.
Look at that. Who knows this information? I mean, this is the kind of dishonesty I keep talking about. We all know the information, but hell, anyway, let's humor her and her stupid questions.
Just
No
public
men-
knowledge
no
that you
women
slept
want-
with everyone on this
So,
panel.
so
It would that
Anaya,
be public
Anaya, I will
knowledge?
say this: if
How
I
would I-
slept,
No, what is she talking about? You're being given hypothetical situations so that the logic can be tested. I found it very weird these days that so many, actually, a lot of people that do content online, they don't seem to have basic understanding of logic, how to make an argument or how to follow through an argument. When they're given an analogy, they fall over the place. No, I am not an apple. No, I'm not an orange. No, I'm not a banana. They don't understand the analogies. Anyway, I digress.
if I slept with all of you, it would increase my value to men and women. If you slept with all the men, it would decrease your value to men and women. If you saw me walk outside this building with 20 women on my arms, you'd be like, damn, who was that? If a
And you see, this is the thing. That's a double standard, and that's just the way it's going to be. Because men and women, again, we have to repeat this, are not the same. And because there's a lot of other double standards, because there's a lot of things women get just by being women, being able to give birth. There's a lot of protection, a lot of resources that men will fall over themselves to put them in the most comfortable position they can get them into. And often it's just women who can say, no, I don't want to work. I want to stay home and raise the kids.
man saw you walking out, or women with 20 men on your arms, they go, ooh, that's a jump off. Our value is deemed different, and there's double
All right.
standards. I'm not
Exactly.
expecting you to
Yes,
protect
there is double
protect and
standard for
provide,
sure.
but your lower count
Exactly.
will determine whether I want to protect and provide for you.
Hey, logic is logic. He just said what I've said because it just follows logically that that's what it is. So if you're thinking clearly, you always come up with the same answers because those are the right answers, or correct answers, whichever way you want to look at it.
But let's get Angryman and Tommy over here, and then I need to bring up Turil, so he wants to say something. Go ahead, Angryman, and then Tommy interrupted, please. Go ahead.
Yeah. What Ali is saying is 100% correct. A woman with 100 men is a zero, but a man with 100 women is a hero. At the end of the day, the thing that I can't understand is how can a person who has chosen to operate in a disrespectful way expect respect? Like
Riddle me that.
if you're already disrespecting yourself, because the way it works is when men and women are born, right? Men are born at the bottom of the mountain. Our job is to climb up the mountain. We have to achieve shit. Women are born at the top of the mountain. Your job is to stay at the top of the mountain.
And I think that dynamic is very useful for the nature of our existence, so that people strive to do great things. I think that's one of those things that I hear a lot of men complaining about that position, but you shouldn't. That should be your call to be a beast, to go out there and try and slay everything. Not slay in that way. I mean, like just go out there and slay all the dragons, overcome, because that's really one of the motivations is to pass on your seed and to have access to the best type, the best quality females, and you can't do that without being that guy. And resources is absolutely one of those things.
Every time you sleep with someone who is not a husband and you just sleeping around, you come further down that mountain. And a lot of y'all are meeting dudes halfway down the damn mountain.
That's a really good analogy. Yes. Yeah, that's like people are thinking these things through so that they can communicate to these airheads and dunderheads. But it's really, that's a really good analogy.
And that's why you keep catching hell when it comes to relationships. Now, the thing that Ali said that I disagree with, it's not that they're choosing to be single. They don't know how to be in relationships.
Mm.
They don't know how to spot a good man from a bad man. The man that cares about how many people you slept with is the good dude. The dude that doesn't care is the bad dude. It's simple.
I just asked my wife, and she said most women.
Tommy, go ahead, and then we get too real and interrupted. Go ahead.
No, we are going to listen in to Tommy. I'm going to let him talk a bit longer before I interrupt him anything, because he knows how to break it down really. So there's a lot of flowery language. I don't care for the flowery language. I'm fine with it. I hope there's no people listening in will not get offended because he's using curse words or what. No, I think it sounds better even that way. Anyway, that's just me.